evening, everyone. My name is Elena Dragu. So today I'm gonna talk about designing content for women, my artistic journey from Romania to Japan. I'm a 2D 3D artist, which I live in Japan for the and I live in work in Japan for the last 6 years, 7 years. Okay, let's start. So my journey starts since maybe I was born. My family was, it is actually an artistic family. My parents, they were religious mural artists, so they'll paint lots of artistic content for religion. And so that was the beginning of my art, and I always felt like I really need to follow my father's steps somehow. But so I went to the National High School in Romania and National University of Art of Bucharest, where I studied mural art. But I went to the like side because religious wasn't my thing. So after a while, studying at National University of Arts, I always feel like I recall this moment when we at the each of semester we'll have. I'm sorry, I have such a bad jet lag right now because I just came from Japan. So at the end of each semester, we will have these exhibitions where we'll expose our or exhibit our art. And I remember one time I entered that room and I couldn't recognize my own art because everything was looking the same. So that was where I start to kind of find and look for something else. And I stumbled on I tried actually to find something else, and I found the concept art, and I found the 3D art and the entertainment world of games. So then I started to study Photoshop and 3D Max, and as much as I could while I was in university, I learned as much as I could. At the end of my graduation, after my graduation, actually, I started to work at Ubisoft for 2 years, where I had two different jobs. At first, I was a brand marketing artist, so I was working for the marketing team. And after my marketing experience, after I think 1 year and a half, I moved to the production team where I basically did 3D and texturing and 3D level art for a short time. But while I was at Ubisoft, I had this really nasty car accident, which really kind of changed my opinion of my perspective, what I should do with my life, and so on. So I started to look around, what can I do? And I noticed like every artist from Ubisoft or people who work in that industry, they are all going to the Western entertainment style, and the concept art and everything was so westernized. When I'm talking about Western, I'm talking about American entertainment. Because in Japan, Western means America. So, but for me, that was something which it really inspired me in a way to find something else. The accident, it was a really bad experience, but a good experience because I really changed my mind about everything which I knew. And yeah, after a while, after 3 years working at Ubisoft, I quit my job and I just invested everything I had to trips to Japan. And after a year, I think I found a job at Infinity Studio from Tokyo, which is a company that makes Nintendo 3DS content, and especially for kids, not kids, maybe students, high school students. And yeah, after 2 years working there, making lots of 3D art, I decided I really need to change again because my passion actually, it was 2D art and not concept art, but 2D illustration and so on. So while I was working in Romania, I learned a lot, and many people, they come and they ask me why and how did you do it, how did you went to Japan and so on. But I cannot recommend enough to work and have experience as a company as Ubisoft, because it really opened lots of doors for you, and I really learned a lot about the game business, especially from the marketing team, and working for AA titles, how is it, and the feeling of it, and the meaning of teamwork, flow, and of course I learned which is my best right now skill, I think the self-management and the motivation. But here I didn't add the most important is the friendship and the connection you can make working at companies such as Ubisoft. That's really important, especially for a young artist who wants to do more than that, I think. So when I was searching like what I should do and what it's really inspired me, In my case, it was, and it is actually even now, because I go to every exhibition and everything I can find in Tokyo related to Ghibli Studio. And especially I was really obsessed with the background art, which Ghibli Studio has in his animations. So that was something which it really stick to me. And I started to look for things and I don't know, what really inspired me about Ghibli. And I found Hayao Miyazaki-san, who is the main head. He retired, but he came back again to make animation. I think he's 80-something years old now. And maybe many of you know about him. And I really like this quote, which I found in this book, which actually I will give you for free to someone who doesn't ask me a question, because I'm so tired. Anyway, and I will try to read this one. Many of my movies have strong female leads, brave, self-sufficient girls that don't think twice about fighting for what they believe with all their heart. They'll need a friend or a supporter, but never a savior. Any woman is just as capable of being a hero as any man. So that was really interesting for me, because if you analyze the Disney animation and so on, you don't find this kind of thinking and this kind of, I don't know, relationship with the character. And I really like Hayao Miyazaki-san's way. So that was my purpose, just to go to Japan. So because everyone has the Western feeling of it, my style, it really became to be like much more personal and much more the way I really wanted to be. And I made it much more Japanese style. And when I started to study kanji, which is a Japanese, the Chinese character of Japanese language, I was trying to memorize them because they are so hard to learn. So I made my own kanji monsters, and that's why it's really inspired for me. I think right now I have like 600 of illustrations like this by studying so many kanji. So what I learned in Japan is the Japanese business etiquette. You really need to, if you want to do business in Japan, you really need to understand how the etiquette works and how to enter a room without fooling yourself or fooling everyone around. Anyway, then the Japanese design aesthetics, which is really important again because they have different kind of tests, and Japanese language is a visual language actually, and the way they express themselves, it doesn't have. It's a different kind of expression, which for me it's interesting because they use taste when they want to think, I don't know, they want to say something about something is not good, but they're going to express this in a way like sense, not like a real word. And then I learned a lot about the entertainment in Japan because it's so different than European and American style of entertainment. It's much more comical and much more different in many ways. Again, I learned Japanese language, which is the most difficult thing I ever did, and I still need to study a lot. And I learned about the Japanese railway system, which if you ever go to Japan, I think if you want to live there, you should know how train works in Japan, because that's the life in Japan, and that's the way you're going to survive in Japan. So I started to work after working on Infinity, the 3D Nintendo company. I started to work for this company because I really wanted to work in an environment which was different. And at that time, the Nintendo 3DS was dying, and I was feeling like everyone's going to move to the smartphone, mobile entertainment and industry. So I started to work at this company, and I work here for currently it's my company. I work here for 3 years, I think, almost 3 years, yeah. So we have our main target. It's related to women. We have a target starting from 15 years old until 50 years old women, and our users, they are really loyal because of that. And our main game is the one with 7 on it. I forgot to put the logo. It's Pokekoro called, and it's one of our successful and the most longest, I think, projects we ever had until now. And when I joined the company, I actually joined to work on Pokemini, which is the global version of Pokekoro. And they really care about my global experience and so on. So that was my purpose in that company. But after a while, I started to work with the real Japanese teams where there are only females, because my company, maybe 64% of us, we are women. And from designer, which in Japan design means actually artist, we are maybe 90% we are women, because we really need to find relationship with our users, and it's much more, I don't know, we have a connection much more simple to understand our users, especially from our workflow. Because women, the way they work together is much more organized, I think, and they really have a purpose and they focus on it. And then we have Days of One Meow, which is my project as well. I was the main artist for the background, except the character, everything else I did. And we have the Disney, my little door, I'm sorry, I'm just tired. And another project with its Hello Sweet Days is the one with Sanrio right here. And then we have Senshiro, which is the fashion battle application. And we have Poyo, Eden Poyo, which is really interesting and funny Japanese game. It's really interesting, even I am so surprised about that. But it's just been released and it's still in, I think, in beta. Okay, so I want to talk about Pokekoro because this is like, in Japan, it's really popular and it has many, I don't know, popularity, and you'll see what actually means. Can you play the video, please? So this is, it looks funny, I know, for us maybe it looks like kids game, but actually it's not, because we have users until maybe 40 or 50 years old. And it's not a game, it's a social platform actually, where you can meet your friends and you can customize your avatar and so on. And your colony, because, is it okay? No? No. O să fie mai greu de înțeles. I'm sorry? Is it? I don't know where is it. No, it's not. Nu, nu pot. E de pe YouTube, da. Ok, atunci nu știu. O să nu știu ce să fac. Pentru că următoarea este la fel, este un video și aici este Colony, unde îți customize, you can customize, I'm sorry, I think I speak Romanian, isn't it? I'm so sorry. This is my problem, I always mix the language, especially right now my English is worse than my Japanese. Okay, so this is the colony where your character avatar is living, and you'll customize as much as you can with so many items, because this, how can I say, it's gacha system application, which means the gumball, and you receive your items by luck playing the gumball machine. And the items right now, we have so many items. I think we have more than 100,000 items in that game. For me, my real passion, like I said, it was the background art, and I was really happy to and lucky to let me have my own and to start my own adventure game. But unfortunately, this game, it wasn't released for so many reasons. But I really want to show the background art because I really fell in love with this project. It's my soul project because I really found what I really wanted to do and my passion. So basically, everything you can customize, every item you can customize in this scene. This is the yard of the character's yard where you're gonna customize everything. Like this was supposed to be the next one. Okay. And after this, I start to work at Days of One Meow, Painting Happiness, which is my baby project, because I worked so hard, me and my friend, we are only 2 artists on it, and she was doing the character and she was the art director and I was the designer, and my main purpose was to give life of Nintendo, no, Nyahos. Nyaho do I speak English right now? So, I'm so sorry, because I start to speak Japanese, I think. So Nyaho is actually Van Meow. We have to, for each language it has a different name, and for English is Van Meow, and for Japanese is Nyaho actually, Neko no Nyaho, Painting Happiness. So the main character is designed and modeled after Van Gogh. So he's an artist, and he, as you can see, there are so many other characters like Picasso, and there is the little mouse, it's Theo, which was actually in real life was Van Gogh's brother. And there is Kiki, a mischievous cat, and so on. So this is a 3D match puzzle game, 3D match story puzzle game, where you, as a master of Niaho, Van Miao, you'll help him, inspire him by playing and complete the puzzle games. Here was supposed to be the really cute CM, because we found out like our users actually they are not gamers and they don't play any applications, and some of them they would just start to play our own game only. So we realized by making a commercial, TV commercial will bring much more users and many more people they will come. Which is really interesting about our project. When it was released, we had so many positive feedback from our users, because I don't know why they felt connected with our character. Actually, I know why, because it's a cat. And he's so cute, and from the beginning of the game, you'll see, I think you're gonna cry, because in Japan we have so many users, they say they cry from the beginning of our game. So like I said, there is it's a match puzzle game, and you'll complete, and you're gonna help Nyaho to complete the stories and keep going on with his life, because I don't wanna spoil the beginning. It's really sad. Okay, and this is the character design. Aya Moroka-san, she's the art director and the character designer, and she gave the real life of Nyaho. We worked together 1.5 years, only us, and she did such a great job on the character side. Everyone loves this kind of character. So there is Nyaho, there is Kiki. She is Nyaho's love, maybe, I don't know how sure, but she's really into material things, so she doesn't like Nyaho because he doesn't have money. So there is Picasso and there is Dari, which all of them they are designed and modeled from different artists. And there is Fujita-san, and there is Fuku, who is actually a master, no master, he deals with lots of painting. And in our games, we found out like many people like him and many users like him, so we gave him his own event, which is to restore like masters, old masters paintings like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and so on. So we have those kind of paintings as well, because Nyaho is completing. So after, I think I forgot to say about this, but when you complete a level, I think after 20 levels of completing the puzzle game, the stages, you complete actually an illustration, which is Nyaho's art. And I will show you that later. And this is my first room I started, and the art direction I gave to Nyaho's world. And of course, he has to fix his home. And my main purpose was, and my main responsibility was to think about my company's design style and to match Moroka-san's, my art director, feeling for Nyaho and so on. And I had to put my own style in it as well. So this is what I came up with, and everyone was so happy with it, so they said, let's do it. That was the main. And this is actually our map. We didn't want to make like a really boring map. And this is Nyaho's mansion with so many rooms. He's a really rich cat, I have to say. And you'll have to maybe remodel and upgrade all his houses, because he has many. So this is what actually Nyaho paints. And these are some which I made. My team made many more. Because after a while we became to be many more artists in our team. And then again there is Nyaho's art with many illustrations, and you can find cats all over the place. Okay, so I have to talk about designing content for women. First, I have to say that the workflow in my company, it's really interesting, because we are so many women, and that's really important. And because we are making each our own items and so on, the company is giving us full transparency about KPI, about so many details which not so many companies they're gonna give. So you will know actually what your users they going to use or play or they like and so on. So for me, when I always design, I always think about train as a time unit, because our users, especially women, they are always in train when they commute. And for me, my purpose is for them to play at least 3 minutes or 2 minutes from our game every time they go to work or come back from work. in Japan, because the economy, I think the most important thing of Japan's economy is the train system. And then I always think about the emotional journey, and this is really important because my company, we really believe in feelings of our users, and we don't want to give them adrenaline or stress or anything like, you know, when we think about adrenaline, they're gonna buy like crazy maybe our items and they're not gonna think. And we have this philosophy, you have to think about the oxytocin because our female, they are users, and we want to give them that kind of feeling, like a pleasure, and I cannot say how, to give them the feeling of not spending money on our items or something like that. It's a decision, a really thought decision. It's not something which you just did it and after that you're gonna regret it. After that we have, okay. In Europe and in America there is this trend which, let's say maybe Kim Kardashian, she wore something and then it's a trend or something like that. But in Japan it's nothing like that. We have in Japan so many trends which they are maybe from 20, 30 years ago, and we always have to think about our users. They have, what kind of trend they have, what kind of trend they like, how they dress, and so many others. So we will create different kind of items, maybe fashion items or interior items, because they are all connected for their likes. Okay, so yeah, Twitter and user direct communication, that's really important for us because in Yahoo's case, we really have, when we release, we had so much positive feedback, even if we had so many bugs in our game. But our users, they will send us messages on Twitter and they'll tell us, oh, do your best. I hope you'll do your best, because I really like this game. I really want to see Yahoo doing Van Meow, whatever he is gonna do on his story, on his life. I want to help Nyaho, so please do your best. And they always send us messages like gambare gambare, which means do your best. So that was really interesting for us to realize like the design and the emotional journey of our users, they're really gonna start to affect them, because we really believe in emotional journey after that. That was such an important part of it. And I was supposed to talk about something else. I don't remember. I'm so sorry about the videos, because I really wanted to see Nyaho for everyone, Van Meow, who is really in his world. Thank you so much for being here. I hope I didn't bore you too much, and I hope I speak English.
Some applause for her, please.